Original 2002 Mafia video game was quite ahead of its time and it still stands out as the great game. It had its remake in 2020 called Mafia Definitive Edition, which has certain differences including in the portrayal of some of its characters, primarily male characters. In this video I want to focus specifically on how the main character is portrayed in both games and on one specific scene unique to the remake. One of the many reasons which made 2002 Mafia great was its story and the sympathetic portrayal of its main character Tommy Angelo, taxi driver who gets roped into Mafia thanks to the combination of unfortunate circumstances and the economic landscape of the Great Depression-era America. He's a tragic figure who is by no means a bad guy, but his moral compass isn't impeccable either, and he makes some tragic mistakes during the story, especially towards its conclusion, which ultimately lead to his unfortunate end. Tom is not that eagerly vengeful. As a mobster, he doesn't mind going after other mobsters, but displays harder aversion for killing innocents and collateral damage, much stronger concern for other people overall. One of the instances where his more darkly sarcastic side was showcased was when he planted a car bomb intended for an underboss of a rival family, which inadvertently kills his mistress. After he repeatedly tries to warn her off from entering the car, he looks at the burning wreckage and says sarcastically,
"Damn, that's one hot dame."
The 2020 remake reverses Tommy's personality. He doesn't display that much concern for others in general, but like the true white knight, he is in horror when he ends up killing the mistress of a mafia underboss. In other words, he is more okay with killing other people, vengefully killing other men, and snarking than he is with killing the mafia princess, making him less likable and more of a jerk. One extra thing to note is that his boss, Don Salieri, is pretty much more monstrous here as well, in comparison to the original Mafia, where he is much more genuinely affable while still being a ruthless mob boss, albeit pretty friendly for one. At any rate, the specific scene I want to focus on, the one in the definitive edition, is in the aftermath of a murder of a corrupt politician committed by Tommy. In the original, Guy ran the brothels and attempted to squeeze into mob's territory. In the remake, he is simply a more vaguely corrupt congressman. After he is killed, there is that scene prevalent in the modern media which has a female character femsplaining to a male character and berating him for being a moron. Let's look at the scene for context.
Did you hear about this Turnbull?
Heard he was crooked as the day is long.
It says in the paper he's going to be remembered for fighting to pass the 19th Amendment. Put his whole career on the line for it.
Which one was that again?
Women's suffrage, you idiot. He gave me the right to vote, Tom. Gave it to his wife and 6 daughters, too. Guess nobody's just one thing, are they?
Guess not. I gotta go to work.
Tom, don't do nothing you don't want to be remembered for, you hear me?
Probably too late for that.
So in the definitive edition, we have both the feminist and traditionalist propaganda. Clear feminist propaganda involving the 19th Amendment, but also traditionalist propaganda. That this congressman can't be that bad because he's a married ratcon pandering to his wife, daughters, and women in general. To sum it up, remake moves away from more sympathetic and more complex character portrayals of its male characters, like Tommy Angelo and Don Salieri, and moves into the territory of popular modern-day entertainment tropes, where male character gets femsplained and told to check his privilege along with the male audience, while reinforcing the idea that even corrupt congressmen are good and acceptable as long as they have dedicated their lives to female pandering. The misandric messaging in the media is becoming more and more overt and normalized. There are many reasons for this. For one, men do not have a deep and fundamental care about misandry, and will rationalize it away with if the media, or in this case a video game, is good, political messaging is fine, thus it is given a pass. 2. Men, gamers included, unlike their enemies, the misandrists, do not have a clearly developed consciousness and a clearly developed frame of reference, thus no clear strategy and understanding. Let's break it down starting with the frame of reference. When and if they respond, it is usually done as a gut reaction to stuff they do not like. That is its prevalence. When it comes to strategy, it usually boils down to get woke, go broke. In practice, it ends up with men retreating from their spaces while repeating that mantra while misandrists advance. Then they retreat again, repeating get woke, go broke, and misandrists move in again, rinse and repeat. They place faith in capitalism as their new messiah that is going to solve their problems, ignoring the commodification and the fact that the quality of product is not the main capitalist concern. After all, junk food sells. And clearly myopia as well. They themselves are willing to tolerate anti-male propaganda and slop as long as they themselves are entertained. So why there wouldn't be others who would swallow the slop they find unpalatable? Here we also need to consider capitalist practices in gaming and how gamers respond to them. Microtransactions, extra content behind the paywall, post-launch content, and pre-orders as practices are all accepted now. Moreover, gaming fan base has shown high tolerance and hope for the popular franchises that they like. Rabid fans are even willing to attack others as so-called not true fans over the voiced preferences. Not only does the term gamers encompass large groups of people, even fans of specific franchises tend to be the diverse group of people with very different tastes and preferences. So how can we tackle the misandry in arts, entertainment, and video games specifically? Can we do it without being embroiled in an endless culture wars cycle, stuck between clueless normies and misandric political ideologues? Well, I do think it's possible to start some sort of cultural creative revolution. It would need to involve socially awakened and preferably pro-male men organizing together to create the works of art and entertainment, including video games. While video games might be a big undertaking, pro-male creative community and communities should start small, creating comic strips and cartoons, then maybe moving towards more complex endeavors and serialized forms of art and entertainment. After all, if your average normie is willing to swallow slop if it is entertaining and popular enough, there is some hope that organized pro-male men could push their own message to people who can find some sort of value in it, even if it is entertainment value.